Well, they got to do something with her. She can't just sit at home all the time. I think part of it is to rebut criticism that she's not taking hostile questions. I would not call the View exactly adversarial questioning.
Right.
But point taken, even sometimes in friendly confines, you can get tough questions accidentally or inadvertently, which is sort of what's happened with her. So I think they are doing it because they feel like they have to at a certain point. Maybe her team is anticipating the question. She's not taking the advice, but it's a conundrum.
Welcome to the Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford. I'm here with magazine editor David Mark. David, Kamala Harris had a town hall with CNN this past week, less than 2 weeks before the election, and it didn't go particularly well, even by the admission of the overall friendly hosts at CNN. How does she not have answers prepared for border security and squaring the circle on her being a change candidate and also an incumbent?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that because those were fairly predictable answers. For whatever reason, she's just really refusing to engage specifically on those issues. Maybe she just doesn't want to make enemies. She just doesn't want to offend anybody, which would be one approach. The question or answer or lack thereof that really surprised me wasn't specifically a policy one, but it was a version of what mistakes have you ever made? And you would think she would have an answer ready at this point, like, oh, when I was a prosecutor, I lost this case or that, or had a personal relationship that didn't go bad. You know, any of us could come up with something.
Right.
But she gave a version of, oh, I worked too hard. I'm too dedicated to my cause. That's when it really snapped for me. I said, this is a problem for her. I thought up till then she did okay, but I don't know that many people are going to decide on that, but it just seemed like a strange answer.
What do you think the logic is behind continuing to put her out there in these settings where, even in friendly ones, like her appearance on The View, haven't gone well? Almost uniformly, they've been panned.
Yeah.
And yet, the strategy seems to be continuing to put her out there. What kind of logic do you think the campaign is using?
Well, they got to do something with her. She can't just sit at home all the time. I think part of it is to rebut criticism that she's not taking hostile questions. I would not call The View exactly adversarial questioning.
Right.
But point taken, even sometimes in friendly confines, you can get tough questions accidentally or inadvertently, which is sort of what's happened with her. So I think they are doing it because they feel like they have to at a certain point. Maybe her team is anticipating the question. She's not taking the advice, but it's a conundrum.
The shift in tone toward something decidedly negative after the campaign started out pretty positive, and in her first interview with Dana Bash, Kamala Harris refused to engage on a question about whether Trump was racist or whatever, and now she's talking about Trump as literally Hitler. Do you think that that's about turnout over persuasion? Is she out of runway to persuade voters at this point?
Yeah, it seems like she's sounding increasingly like President Joe Biden did toward the end of the 2022 midterms when Democrats did relatively well. Remember, he closed on a speech, I think it was in Philadelphia, somewhere about democracy and calling Trump all the names, et cetera, kind of like she did in the town hall and she's really focusing on doing now. And it clearly had a positive effect for him in limiting Democratic losses, almost holding the Senate, almost winning the House. Whether it works for her or not is an open question. I can only assume her team has polling suggesting that's the way to drive voters home in the final 10 plus days of the election.
Well, we will have to see very soon. David, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You can get more writing from David and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.